Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Basics podcast. It's the holiday season, Dylan. Well, I think we could start saying that now, right? I mean, we are, well, by the time this episode drops, it will be Thanksgiving Eve. And it used to be, I mean, that used to be a big deal back in the day before Thanksgiving. You know, everybody coming back into town. I mean, it was the party holiday. Not so much anymore.
Blackout Wednesday, they called it.
Yeah, that's right. Blackout Wednesday.
Yeah, not anymore.
No, definitely not.
I think this is the first time we usually record the Better Basics podcast leading right up to my bedtime. Mm-hmm. I think this is the first time we've ever officially recorded it after my bedtime.
Yeah. This is pushing it a little late for me too. But you got to do to get the episodes out for the people. We are about consistency here on the show, and we're going to do what it takes, even if that means recording. I mean, at 9:10.
Damn it! Now we're really showing our age.
9:10 at night.
I was having some drinks after work with my old boss today, and just in normal conversation, I told him that I was kind of into bourbon right now, drinking more pilsners and lagers, and kind of grew out of IPAs. And he was like, "Holy shit, man, you're getting old."
Oh, is pilsners and lagers? Is that a sign of old age?
I think, according to him, IPAs is like a
young man's game.
Young man's game, yeah.
Yeah, well, I get that. I mean, I'm not I've been on the Pilsner lager train since 2020, I think. So I mean, I've been old.
You've been old.
Yeah, for sure. But it's gonna be an awesome weekend. I'm coming back into town. I'll be back all weekend. I don't know if you knew that. So we gotta get together, man. I'll be there Thursday through Sunday.
Oh, fuck yeah! I'm busy on Thursday.
Yeah, same.
But other than that, I'm look forward to seeing. Are you bringing the boy?
Yeah. Archer's gonna come back. I think the only real thing that we have planned Sunday, we're going to go down the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. I think it's at the Pabst. They are showing the Muppets Christmas Carol, and the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra is going to be like playing the music alongside it. So
cool.
Yeah.
They do
Muppets.
They do that for a lot, like Harry Potter, Home Alone.
Yeah, they just did it for like not Encanto, the other one, Coco, which would have been pretty sweet too. But as someone that's been on record saying Muppets Christmas Carol is one of my favorite Christmas movies, I think actually like Muppets movies in general, like they should just make all classic movies should just do Muppets versions of. And I think it makes it inherently better.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, dude, you're messing up. All
right, I'll put it on the list.
Not only is it just a great movie, it's also and this is a fact. Well, okay, this is something that I read on the internet. So if it's a fact, this might be this might be Jared Goff throwing how many receptions. But
no, yeah, that's true. No, yeah, that's true.
yeah. But what I heard is that the Muppets Christmas Carol actually uses more dialogue, more like direct quotes, more direct dialogue from the Charles Dickens, story than any of the other movie adaptations. So not only is it just wildly entertaining, but potentially more accurate. So
that's
there you go.
Cool, and probably not true. So very, very cool.
Yeah, probably not. Fact check that. All right, let's move into the hot topic for the day. This actually, the whole episode this week is going to be, just about like the holidays, I guess, and how we tend to, get stressed out about, diet and drinking and all the stuff that comes with the celebrating of the holiday season. So, we thought we found this hot topic about, well, it's actually it's a remake. Speaking of remakes here, it's a remake of a classic experiment This is the endless bowl of soup. Now, Dylan, before you get into it too much, letting people know about this study and its implications, have you heard about the original like endless bowl of soup study?
No, I'm only familiar with this new one and that it was especially interesting because it essentially confirmed what was previously a pretty disputed study.
Well, the study wasn't so. But the reason why the original study was disputed is because the guy who did it was kind of a piece of shit. He was a professor at Cornell, and he had to leave because it turned out that he was just like fudging a bunch of his experiments. Like he was just like making stuff up. Or no. Well, in his words, he never made anything up, but he did have some. There were some errors in his studies. People do say he straight up was just like making shit up in some of his experiments. So this now I think that was back in like the early 2000s. I think it was 2005, and they just went ahead and replicated it. So now why don't you go ahead, now that we have that sweet setup, why don't you go tell the people what the endless bowl of soup study entails?
Yeah, this is pretty wild. So, in this new study, they took 400 study participants and they had each of them eat a bowl of soup. But unbeknownst to the study participants, the bowl was being constantly refilled by a tube at the bottom of the bowl. So, this bowl of soup was essentially endless. It would just continue to fill and they would just continue to eat. And what's really interesting about it is 3/4 of the study participants never realized that that was occurring. So they were just continuing to eat without realizing that more and more soup was finding its way into the bowl. So this tells us some really interesting things about the way that people eat, the way that we use cues to kind of determine when we're supposed to be done. And I think there's some cool stuff we can learn from it.
Yeah, and so there was a control group that had just a ending bowl of soup, and then the one of the interesting things that they found was that the people who had the endless bowl reported like they felt like they ate the same amount as the people that had the ending bowl of soup, and I don't know if I like interpreted this correctly or not, but it sounded like some of the people who had the bowl that did end actually like reported like guessing that they ate more soup than they actually did. So yeah, it's really the implications here are really interesting. I mean, I think it's like a lot of stuff that we have touched on in the show before. I mean, but like it's just really interesting that there's real hard data to support it now.
Yeah, man, our brains really do use visual cues to decide how much it is that we're going to eat or to determine what our appetite is. Like we don't have some calorie meter in our body or in our stomach that's governing how much we've eaten and then like suppresses our appetite so that we don't eat more in line with like some sort of how much we've eaten or how much we need. So it really, our eyes are telling us this is what we're supposed to eat. And in this study, we're seeing that people's visual cues are telling them that because there's still food there, that they're supposed to continue to eat it, even if it's more than a normal portion or more than what they need.
Yeah,
So,
and that is like it's really interesting because we think about the portion sizes. Like you remember that from health class when they would like they had like the two pictures. It was like what you're served versus what a serving actually is, and it's one of those like wild things where you see the amount of food on your plate and compared to what you actually need, it can be insane, especially nowadays. This the modern American diet has gotten so out of hand, and it really it makes you really have to pay attention when you're eating. And I think, that's actually one of the suggestions, coming out of this study. One of the things that you can do, to help pay attention more, something that we've mentioned before, is make sure that when you're eating, you're present. So that is, not eating in front of the television, not being on your phone, not eating while driving, being present with your meals, because that is, causing you to focus more on the actual act of eating, which will help help you pay attention to those hunger cues a little bit better.
Yeah, it's super important. I was at Friendsgiving on Saturday this weekend, and they served all the food kind of buffet style, right? Like you usually do at a Thanksgiving. And you grab a plate and you fill your plate up with food. And there's so many things to choose from. I think there's a lesson in this that's very applicable to the holiday season. And so I take my plate and I fill it up with more than I need of everything. I have a heaping plate of food, take it back to the table, and I eat it. And as I'm eating it, I'm probably like 50, 60% done, and I'm good. Like I'm full. But because there's still food on that plate, I just continued to eat it until it was gone. So I think some of it is just about having some awareness of what a portion is. But another recommendation, and Menno Henselman's on Instagram covers the study and talks about a few maybe recommendations that come out of the study. One of which is just to use a smaller plate. Like that can be a bit of a hack here, right? Like if the plate was smaller in that case for me, I wouldn't have been able to put as much food on it. And I didn't go back for seconds. Like therefore, I would have eaten less food. So you can be conscious of that as well. Like either if you do have a big plate, maybe consider the amount that you're putting on there, especially when there's 12 different options. Like you don't need 10 bites of each. You'd normally sit down to dinner, you'd have a protein, a veggie, a starch. In many holiday cases, you have a protein or two, you've got 3 or 4 different starches, you've got 3 or 4 different vegetables, and you're taking some of each. That adds up very quickly. So a little bit less of each of those is maybe a good way to approach that, or just using a smaller plate.
Yeah, I mean, I think like forcing yourself to go up for seconds. If you want them, making that a conscious decision, purposefully taking less on that first go round is a really, kind of like valuable strategy. Because if you eat your plate and you're sitting there and you're done, and then you are like decide, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to walk over, I'm going to put more food on my plate. That is probably a signal that you might actually have room for a little bit more food. But so I like that strategy. Smaller plates, or just in general, just being a little bit skimpy on your portion sizes. I mean, I don't know how competitive all of our listeners like Thanksgiving lines get, and but for most people, there's no shortage of food around the holidays. And so being able to just slow down and step back from it, and if you want more food, that's fine, but just make yourself go get it. I think that's an interesting, probably a good strategy.
Yeah, either it's a cue to yourself that you're still hungry, or at least it's a conscious choice that you're gonna go stuff yourself, which can be okay too. Like it's a day out of the year where
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll get into all that. We'll get all that in in the main course here today. I mean, is there anything else? I feel like we've kind of hit all the main points on this endless bowl of soup here.
not really. Just yeah. I mean, there's a lesson in it. Pay attention to the cues with regards to how you determine how much it is that you're going to eat, because sometimes we eat more than we need to, not because we're choosing to, but because of these kind of these cues that exist that are just like not really conscious.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's transition to the next segment. It is worth it. This week we both have something that we brought to the table here. We're going to talk about our adjustable dumbbell sets. Now, we both have different sets. So Dylan, yours, you went with the sleek. Sleek, I think it was like Swedish. Is that where Nuobell comes from?
I don't have a clue, man.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
it's,
we'll just call it Swedish engineering.
all right. Yeah, Nuobell Smart Fit, SMRTFT. Nuobells. What I really like about the Nuobells is they look and feel like a regular dumbbell. So they're round plated. They're really simple to adjust. They fit in the hand very similar to a regular dumbbell, and they're not inexpensive. But what's nice about them is they do go from 5 to 80 pounds in 5 pound increments, and are really fantastic for home gym use. So I think the case that I made to myself and would make to the listeners is that um, if you're going to invest in fitness and you have a decision to make, and that decision is a gym membership or some home gym equipment, I think it's easy enough and reasonable to justify that spending a fair amount of money on some adjustable dumbbells can be as beneficial, if not better, than the gym membership itself, especially if you're a person who knows that to be consistent and for it to be a sustainable habit, that the bar of getting in the car and going to the gym is too much to overcome. So, what's really cool about Nuobell is, and I take advantage of any 0% interest payment plan option I ever can, is you can put these on a payment plan and pay $65 a month. I think they cost like $700 or so if you pay for them up front. But at 0% interest, there's no reason not to take the payment plan. And so for $65 a month, it's essentially the cost of a gym membership to have adjustable dumbbells up to 80 pounds in your home. And I think you and I would both feel strongly that you can get very fit and do pretty much everything that you'd need to with dumbbells alone when it comes to strength training. So I'm a huge fan of adjustable dumbbells. If you're a person who doesn't need up to 80 pounds, there's some even more reasonable options. I think NordiTrack makes a pretty good one that goes up to like
Hmm.
55 pounds that's available
Yeah,
on
theirs is highly rated.
Amazon. Um, so yeah, I would make the case strongly for adjustable dumbbells. And if you do like a sleeker, more kind of conventional shaped dumbbell in adjustable dumbbell form, the SmartFit Nuobells are fantastic. Super durable, super easy to adjust, and really don't take up much space in your home at all.
Yeah, yours. I mean, they look badass. I was seriously considering the Nuobells, which were confirmed. Went to the website, confirmed Swedish, so nailed
Okay,
that one.
thank you.
But I needed something that was that had a little bit more to it. I wanted something that went up to 100 pounds, and so like really the only ones that I could find that went up to 100 pounds in 5 pound increments were the power blocks, the OG in the adjustable dumbbell space. And I did a bunch of research, tons of research on it. Actually, the guy that put him over the top for me was Ben Bruno, who is one of my favorite online trainers. He uses the power blocks, pretty much exclusively in his little garage gym where he has all kinds. I mean, he's got like Klay Thompson working out there. He's got all different kinds of celebrities. So, it's they're a pretty durable dumbbell set, and they come all the way up. Actually, they come with these little weights, like little like circular weights inside that you can pop out, so you can actually have them in 2.5 pound increments if you really need to. But it goes all the way up to 100 pounds. They are, the power blocks are, they're square, rectangular, so they are a little bulkier than the Nuobells. But I mean, as far as something that think about it, a set of dumbbells that goes from 5 pounds all the way up to 100, and it just takes up a little space in the corner of your room. I mean, it is a wild, like just absolute wild bang for your buck. Now, those ones, they're not cheap either. and you know, like you said, most people don't need. Most people don't need adjustable dumbbells up to 100 pounds. Most people probably don't even need up to 80. So, you know, there's a way that, and actually, like the thing with the power blocks, I don't know if Nuobell does this as well, but you can get add-ons to them. So, like
Yeah,
if
you can.
you know, if you're just starting out, you know, you can get adjustable dumbbells up to 40 pounds and then just start to get, you know, the as you get stronger, or if it's something that you're going to stick with, you can invest a little bit more over time. So um for me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, and obviously it's something like as you know, as a trainer, it's nice to have access to all those dumbbells too. So I mean, I know for me it's a no-brainer. For you, I mean, you had your Nuobells longer than I've had mine. So I mean, I think both of us would definitely consider this a worth it.
No question.
All right. Time for the main course. I love this topic. I mean, and it is simply how to have a healthy holiday season. So we know that around this time of year, we can be faced with a lot of, you know, quote unquote unhealthy choices. And I think it's really important that, you know, not only do we think about ways that we can make healthier choices, but also just understand that it's okay to enjoy yourself this time of year. This does not need to be a point in time where we are, you know, are dialed in selves. And, you know, I think that's actually, you know, something that's really interesting where when we think about the, you know, whole like New Year's resolution, you know, I think a reason why a lot of people, you know, decide, oh, you know, this year, 2025 is going to be a year that I get in shape. It's because of how they act and behave over the course of the holiday season. And so we're here just to give you guys some practical tips, advice, and whatnot about, you know, how to make this time of year a little bit more healthy and wholesome and enjoyable, so that you are not hating yourself come January 1st. And in fact, maybe you're actually already making some progress to that healthy lifestyle that you're striving for.
Yeah, so before we dive into the tips around nutrition and fitness and even mental health a little bit, I think you're right. Like the most important point up front is just to enjoy yourself. Like that's what the holidays are for. They're for family, they're for celebration, they're for love, they're for togetherness. That should be the priority here, right? Like it's okay for your health and fitness to take a back seat for a few days a year. Um, if we're talking Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, you know, two holiday parties, that's 7 days out of 365 in a year. That's less than 2% of the entire year. So to use that as an excuse for falling off the wagon altogether, which a lot of people do, I've done myself, right? Like you let these 7 days turn into 3 weeks, turn into a month, turn into I'm no longer up with my consistency and my habits, so I'm just gonna fall off this thing altogether. Happens far too frequently. Enjoy those days, but then fall back on those solid habits, the consistency, the sustainability you've built. You can have both, right? Like it's okay to, and in fact, I think it's much healthier to just enjoy those days and don't stress so much about how many calories you're eating or whether you got a workout in. And enjoy the food you're eating, enjoy the people you're around. Let that be what that's about. And then the next day and the day after that, get back to it. And then Christmas Eve comes and you just continue that habit. Don't let a bad Thanksgiving turn into a bad Thanksgiving through Christmas, through the new year, and then expect, to your point, some resolution to come and save you, because that's not the way that this game should work. We've said it once, we've said it a million times. It's about consistent, sustainable, small habits built over time that are really going to have this lifelong impact. And so these few days should not be ulterior to that, but should rather be contributing to the other benefits of what it means to be healthy around love and fun and togetherness and community, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, think about all of the stress that you are putting on yourself by putting this pressure on these days that should be enjoyed guilt-free, stress-free. And, not only just for yourself, but think about the people that you're around. I mean, these holidays are meant to be celebrated with loved ones, family, friends. I mean, the people that mean the most to you in your life, and you don't want to be the person at the holiday party talking about how unhealthy the Christmas cookies are. Like, ooh, I could have just one. Oh, I could only have can only have a little bit of this, or I can't have any of that. It not only is it is it just not great for your psyche. I mean, but it's also a downer, and so that doesn't mean that you need to go off the rails and binge on everything, but use it as an opportunity to have a little self-control, to enjoy yourself without being gluttonous. That's something that we can all strive for and be a little bit better about, in our everyday lives, not even just on these holidays, but thinking about it more as a opportunity to enjoy yourself without going overboard and celebrating it with the people that matter most. So I mean, yeah, give yourself a break and just enjoy it, because the holidays can be the best time of the year for so many reasons if you just let it. But too often people just get stressed out and end up ruining it for themselves and the people around them.
Yeah, and if you are able to have one cookie instead of four,
Do it.
then great. Like you've built that habit, right? That's great self-control. But then maybe just like shut the fuck up about it too.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Nobody
Like
cares.
yeah, like nobody else really cares that much. So,
Right.
um, this isn't a suggestion that you need to be a glutton, but rather, um, don't beat yourself up for one or two cookies. And if you want a third, fucking have it. Like it's okay. It's not a few days of 5 to even 1,000 calories more than you need is not going to materially impact your overall journey here. So
Right.
don't be stressing out about that stuff. Now,
Yeah.
I think with that being said, there are some ways to maybe approach, and I think we're going to talk about nutrition, fitness, and maybe even a little bit about mental health because to your point, Matt, I think the holidays can be the best time of the year for a lot of people, and they can be a dread for a lot of people as well. And so let's talk about some of those things. I think on the nutrition front, if you've gotten into some good habits and you want to stick to them, and it's now just part of your life, it's just about prioritizing the things that we've talked about time and time again in this podcast. And one of the best things you can do if you want to enjoy the food but not fill up on the cheesy potatoes um, is start with the protein and the veggies. Like when you fill that plate up, make sure that the majority of your calories are coming from the turkey or the ham or the steak or whatever it is, and the vegetables that are out there because those are the most nutritious. The protein will be the most satiating, and then fill around that with the other things. If you prioritize and even eat the protein and vegetables first, because of the satiating nature of protein and the fiber content in veggies, you're going to be too full to overeat the rest of the stuff. So I think that's a really good strategy. If you do want to try to eat a little bit healthier without like counting your calories or being overly obsessive about it, to build that plate, to build it around the protein and the vegetables.
Yeah, I think I actually saw this from a fitness influencer on Instagram like today or yesterday. And this is kind of like they were doing their like holiday tips, like everybody's doing this time of year, like us. And his suggestion was to have a protein shake, before your meal. Now, if you're somebody that's really trying to like dial it in, and really being, health conscious, macro conscious, like I that is one strategy to do it. However, I am not going to waste any calories
Right.
on a protein shake before Thanksgiving dinner. So, if you're one of these people that is trying to be like super dialed, I mean that is a like a broy strategy to stay the course and prioritize that protein. But if for the realistic people like you and I mean, yeah, I'm going to just load my plate up with protein and veggies, and then fill it in with all the good stuff after that. But really the thing for me isn't so much like the actual like meal, like Thanksgiving meal. It's the snacks that
Yeah, dude.
happen before that. It's the meat and cheese plate. It's like all of the different
The dips, man. The dips.
dips, yeah, like all that stuff that comes out beforehand. And so just being mindful that is a proverbial like minefield of your nutrition, and just, I mean, not even so much like avoiding that room, avoiding the kitchen or whatever. Like, obviously, going to spend time there, but just don't find yourself hanging out in front of the meat and cheese plate. Like, go up there, enjoy it, but then take your spoils and bring it to a table and sit down and enjoy them over there.
Yeah, don't hang out by the cheese tray. That's a recipe for disaster. We on Thanksgiving go to my brother-in-law's house, and they have a beautiful home. My brother-in-law's parents' house. They have a beautiful home, big kitchen, big island countertop, loaded with snacks, and we all kind of just congregate around that space. And I find myself it's just like nonstop for 3 hours before dinner, just
Yeah,
grabbing and eating.
exactly.
And the funny thing is there's little plates there next to next to the hors d'oeuvres. The healthy, smart, calorie conscious thing to do would be to grab a little plate and then go into the ginormous living room that they have, or somewhere else, and enjoy the food that I've chosen to eat, instead of just mindlessly kind of eating this cheese as we're talking, which gets us back into the whole conversation around mindful eating, right? Like, it's just another
Yeah.
example of why that's important. Another little tiny little mini tip. This is deep, and this is small rocks. This isn't like going to have a huge material impact, but the harder cheeses are typically a little higher in protein and a little
Hmm.
lower in calorie, a little less fat. So like the Parmesans, the Asiagos. Um, so that you could lean towards the harder cheeses over the softer cheeses if you really want to go nuts. But
Dude,
soft
Parmesan
cheese,
Reggiano is like bang for your buck, one of the like most
it's
protein
insane.
dense
Yeah,
like foods out there.
it
It's
is.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that is like also kind of that like next level. As a soft cheese man, like, I don't give a shit how many
Yeah.
grams of protein is in brie. I'm gonna eat half the block, but it will take me longer to consume it if I'm not standing directly above it. I mean, that's really like the endless soup bowl. That's the biggest plate
The
possible,
endless
not even
cheese
using
tray.
one.
Yeah, exactly. It's an island countertop plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that strategy. Like, there are little plates there. Take the stuff, and even if it is more of just a symbolic act, like like still take the time to take it off of the big plate, put it on the tiny plate, and then put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
That will it. I mean, and that's like the whole thing, though. With these things, is they all seem like so little, but like like all the little stuff, like that's
No,
where
that adds up.
like, yeah, that the margins are really where it all matters here on these holidays. So I think that's a pretty solid base for nutrition. Do you have anything else to
The only other
add?
thing I would say is just to the plate point again. Like, you may not have an option to choose a smaller plate. Like, wherever you go, they're gonna have a plate out for you, and you're gonna fill it. But I would very strongly urge people to take not enough food the first time you go through the line. You can
Yeah.
probably go back. Um, because if you fill that plate up too full, you're gonna be, either you're gonna mindlessly eat through all of it past the point you're full, or you're gonna feel pressured to eat it because you took it on your plate and you don't want to waste it.
Right.
So eat until you're full. Like, you don't need to gorge yourself. In fact, oftentimes you feel very uncomfortable after that, and you want to have some energy and stay awake to watch the Packers whip the Dolphins' ass on Sunday night. So, um, take smaller portions, enjoy it, go back for more if you're still hungry. But if you're not, stop eating.
Yeah. I mean, plain and simple. All right. So like the next killer, I suppose, is the fitness aspect. A lot of people get stressed out because, they're traveling, they're out of their routine. And, it's one of those things that when once you've started to establish a healthy gym routine, a healthy workout regimen, taking time off of that is really scary, because for a lot of people, they've had that happen before, where they've been consistent and they've had a good thing going, and then something pops up. Maybe it's the holidays, maybe it's work, maybe it's stress, whatever, and then they take a week off, which turns into a month off, which turns into 6 months off, etc. But something that I stress with clients all the time, who do freak out a little bit about missing a workout because they're going on vacation or going to see family or whatever the case may be, is that a lot of times, if you're consistent, if you are exercising 3+ days a week and you're working out hard, taking a week off or taking 3-4 days off is actually going to do your body a heck of a lot of good. It is an opportunity to recover. And if you are pushing yourself in the gym on a consistent basis, your body is going to thank you for that. Now, I would, if you are traveling, or, you're going to be out of your routine for a couple of days, I would make sure that I have that next workout scheduled, that workout when I'm getting back into my routine, whether that is Monday or, whatever the case may be, but have that on the calendar so that that I'm going back to the gym on this day. But if that's the case and you can't, work out consistently over the holidays, that's okay. You just got to enjoy that and make sure that you are using that as an opportunity to let your body recover.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they really get consistent and get into this for a good period of time, they probably tend to overtrain more than undertrain.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I'm guilty of this, and I'll often find I'll get a cold or something, and I'll stop working out for a week, and I feel like I blow up, like I earn all this muscle, I give myself a chance to recover, and I'm better for it. So this is one of those kind of built-in opportunities to do that. And it's important to emphasize again and again and again, you don't lose your progress in 1 to 2 weeks. You might lose a couple pounds on the bench press if you take a week or two off, but it's not because you've lost the muscle. It's just because your body is readapting to that load and
Right.
the
It's a
ability to move
skill,
it.
and you
It's
just
a
need to
skill.
remember the skill.
Yeah, and that'll come back quickly, and you'll be right back to where you were. So,
And a lot of times
um,
even stronger because you're rested.
yeah, exactly right. So, don't worry so much about that. Like, you're not. We get this idea that we're going to lose some muscle. That's certainly not the case. I think the other thing that kind of bridges the nutrition fitness gap a bit is, like, people will gain some weight over the holidays, oftentimes because they're eating foods that are higher in sodium and carbohydrate, more than they frequently do, and that will cause your body to hold more water. So you may step on the scale and see the scale go up, but it isn't necessarily because you gained fat in 3 or 4 days.
No.
So don't be fucking around with the scale
Yeah,
right
throw
now
the
either.
scale out this time of
Throw the
year.
scale out. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't matter whatsoever. And I don't think any of our tips here are going to be like, here's how to get your workouts in over the holidays. Like, this is about enjoying the holidays. It's about taking the opportunity to recover. Every component of a healthy fitness journey requires these different seasons. And one of the seasons that's beneficial to overall progress is seasons of feeling good, of maintenance. Like not everything has to be about progression over all of the time. So if you are going to work out in this period of time, maybe this is the period of time where you're just working out to feel good. You're focusing on mobility a bit. You're trying to get a bit more flexible. You're, just ensuring that you continue to move. I think that if there's a fitness tip in this, it's just don't become fully sedentary. Like don't just veg out. Like
Right.
get your walks in, move around a bit, stretch. At the holiday parties, get on the floor and play with the kids, whatever it is. But this doesn't need to be a month in your life where you need to be really pushing for those big goals.
Yeah, I mean, and if you do have, if exercising is becoming something that you really are enjoying, like you can make that an opportunity to share that with the people that you're with. Maybe you're going to visit family and you guys go to the gym together. You take your brother, sister, cousin, or whatever, or mom or dad, whoever, and you guys go to the gym together, not because you're going to go do your hour and a half long like push pull legs while you're there, but because you're just going to go have some fun together, and maybe you learn something, or maybe show them something. And it's an opportunity to have fun with your workout and not take it so seriously. I mean, I love what you said about working out to feel good, and not so much about pushing for progress this time of year. I do have one like fitness tip, like workout tip while traveling. If you're going to visit, somewhere new over the holidays. One thing that I like to do when I'm on vacation, I'm not a huge working out well on vacation guy, but something that I will do is I'll use it as an opportunity to seek out a fitness class in that area. If I'm going to somewhere new, maybe I'll go check out a yoga studio, or I'll go get some splat points at an Orange Theory, or just use it to do a form of training that I wouldn't do otherwise, when I'm at home. So I think the best thing that you can do if you are going to try and exercise while, over the course of the holidays, is have fun with it. Make it an opportunity to do something novel, because your body's going to respond well to that.
Yeah, but do it out of curiosity. Do it out of a desire to try something new, not out of a desire to make sure you don't lose your progress.
Right. No, and that should be if you want to. Not because you feel like you have to. Though that should all just be because it's something that you enjoy doing and you have the time. Yeah, you don't want to be the guy over the holidays that just disappears from the family function for 2 hours because you had to go hit your 5x5s. Nobody likes that guy.
And you can always recommend the postprandial walk. Like after dinner, get a group of people, go for a 10-minute walk. Just walk around the block. Look at people probably have Christmas lights up too early. So go have a look at those.
It's after Thanksgiving, so I mean, I feel like that's a very appropriate time.
A couple hours after Thanksgiving,
that is an absolutely appropriate time to have Christmas lights up. But
you put your Christmas lights up after Thanksgiving dinner.
I never put Christmas lights up. But
Christmas doesn't start until the Friday after Thanksgiving.
The Friday after Thanksgiving, so the day after Thanksgiving.
Correct. So
got it. Okay, got it. So they were, okay. So you got it. They were early. They were early by 8 hours.
Well, yes, if they put them up after Thanksgiving dinner, but they've probably been up before that. Is my point here.
I got you. Yeah, nobody is going out after directly after Thanksgiving dinner. It's all right, everybody, that was delicious. Now, honey, you go get the box of ornaments from downstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So the last topic I think we want to breach here is just more around our mental health, and I think it's important to note that I think a lot of people I know, people I love, they have these expectations around the holiday that it needs to be a certain way, or it's going to be perfect, or it's going to be magical, and it doesn't need to be any of those things, right? This is just an opportunity to connect with our community that we love, to be together, to break bread, to have a few drinks, whatever it is for you. But I think dispelling that expectation going in that like it's supposed to be something more than that is really important. So, some people grow up and the holidays aren't all that good. Their home life isn't that great. And they get a little bit older, and maybe their relationship with the holidays isn't good. And so they sort of dread them to some degree because either their parents set this expectation that it was supposed to be a certain way, or their parents didn't live up to what they to what they should have provided around the holidays as parents. And so, if that's the case for you, you get to decide what this is for you now. You get to decide for you. You get to decide for your kids if you have kids. You get to decide for the people that you're around, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I think important to approach the day that way.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point, and finding the things that you can be grateful for and showing gratitude for those things, no matter how small they are, because things are not going to be perfect, especially if you are expecting them to be. Perfection is one of those things that just kind of happens, especially when we're least expecting it. So just being grateful for, the things that you do have, and, using it as an opportunity to create some traditions. If you didn't have, if you don't have the best holiday traditions, think about the things that are special to you, and maybe some things that you can do to start to get those things, going in the right direction. But with that, there are always some challenging, for a lot of people, the holidays can be challenging, whether it is, family members who, maybe they don't have the best relationships with. And it's okay to set those boundaries too. It doesn't, the holidays look different for everybody. So you don't have to, pretend that, it's going to be this rosy day. There might be some things that are uncomfortable, and you might have to set some boundaries along the way, and understanding that that's okay, because, this is your life, and it's your mental health here, and you have to be your biggest advocate.
Yeah, and start by setting those boundaries, right? Like internally, think about what they are,
Yeah.
and then communicate them. And everybody's got an annoying family member or two, or maybe somebody they don't really love being around. And so you either have an opportunity to set some boundaries around that, or go into that with the understanding that, to your point before, like you're gonna focus on the good parts. Like don't spend. It's really easy. You could be around 12 people you love, 11 of them you like, and one of them you love them, but you don't really like them that much. And it's really easy to spend the whole day dwelling on the annoying things that guy you don't like that much is saying. So really try to focus on the 11 people you do like, the little bit of love you have for that person who's maybe a little bit annoying, and that'll get you through the day a bit better. I've been there where like this one person's just pissing me off and it ruins the whole fucking day.
Yeah, it could happen.
So yeah, just try really hard to focus on the good things, practice that gratitude, and really be intentional about that. And all of this, like it's the end of the year. Days and time that they don't really mean a ton, but it is this like opportunity to pause. We have a few days off work. We're around the people we love. We're around our community. This is a time to celebrate the progress you've made, an opportunity to reflect on the year that you've had, whether it's been good or bad, right? Like take that moment to breathe, pause, reflect on where you're at. Don't let it all get away from you if you have a few bad days. And I'm not, what is bad even, right? Like maybe try to reframe how you define that as well, because a few too many calories isn't a bad day. Get back to that sustainability, that consistency, and go into the new year, not with some major ambition to reform your life, but with an ambition to continue to be consistent and maintain that sustainability, so that these little wins over the rest of your life are what ultimately lead you to the top of the mountain.
That's it. Well, we hope that everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and when we'll be around for many more conversations for the rest of the holiday season. This is just the kickoff, but I mean, Dylan, I don't know about you. Thanksgiving is one of my absolute favorite days of the year. I'm buzzing. I can't wait for it. And yeah, we get Packers Dolphins on Thursday night. It's gonna be fantastic. So that's gonna wrap up the conversation for our main course here. I see we got a Q&A here. Dylan, do you want to read the Q&A today?
Yeah, the question's from me to you.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I'm monopolizing the Q&A today because
That's smart.
as we've mentioned, I'm going to be going for a 1 rep max on my bench, squat, and deadlift on Thursday morning with my brother-in-law. And so I had this plan to I had been doing a lot of hypertrophy training and not a lot of strength, heavyweight focused training. And I got sick. I had a cold, and I took a week and a half off of training and essentially killed the entire period of time I had planned to kind of scale my way back into the strength training. I did get a few days in the last few weeks just doing bench, squat, and deadlift every other day, and found it really beneficial. And actually, quick side note, if you're new to the gym and you don't want to buy a program, but you want to do something that's really, really effective, just bench, squat, deadlift, and overhead press for a few weeks, just in rotation, and you will see some insane benefits. But so all this in mind, Thursday morning I'm going to go in. I went to a place in the last few days where I was getting to a weight where I could do 2 pretty comfortable reps. So I have that weight in mind, and then I'm going to go up from there to determine what my goal weight is for each rep. And I'd like to get to 1,000 total pounds. We'll see if it happens. But the question, that's a lot of words. The question here is, I'm gonna 1 rep max these 3 lifts. How should I warm up for each to ensure that I'm ready to go for my 1 rep maximum, but not doing so much warm up that I fatigue too much to achieve my maximum lift?
Yeah, that's such a good question, because that is the whole like crux of it all, because the goal of the warm up is to prime that central nervous system so that it is ready for that maximal output while minimizing the fatigue. And a lot of times people go one way or the other. They are either not doing enough, where they are leaving a lot of weight on the table because they have not done enough to prep that central nervous system, or they've gone the other way and they've done way too much, so that by the time they finally get to the top weight they're striving for, they're absolutely fried. So I like to look at this. I'm pretty much like stealing this from the Prescript guys. Shout out Jordan Shallow, and what they recommend over there, starting with mobility first. Well, actually, so like the first thing that I'm going to do is just like start to get my heart rate up. So I'm going to do some sort of just like 3 to 5 minutes of just like light cardio. And then, so I mean, like rowing machine, jumping jacks, like jogging, whatever the hell you want to do. Just like get your heart rate going. And then once you're there, you're going to start with mobility. And so you're just going to do, like if you're talking about like the deadlift, you're going to be focusing on hinge patterns. You're going to be focusing on, that hamstring activation. And then, squats is going to be like hips and ankles. And then for the bench press, it's starting with that T-spine, that mid back, and then kind of like moving out to the shoulders. But once you've hit, and really, it's just like a couple mobility exercises. From there, you want to start to activate those muscles. And that's where I really like to use like resistance bands. So I'll start to use light resistance bands in movements that begin to mimic the pattern that I'm going to be doing. I actually, and then I also like to do a little bit of like explosive type stuff, like kind of like a plyo move, not like anything, just like a couple reps. Like if I'm gonna do like hinging, maybe I'll do, or like for deadlift, maybe I'll do like a couple like heavy kettlebell swings. Or for squats, I'll do like some box jumps. I'll do some like plyo push-ups for my bench, but I'm only gonna do a couple of them because I'm really just trying to like prep that central nervous system. And then from there, it is just gradual loading. So starting with an empty bar and doing 10 reps of the exercise. Then I'm going to, and for each of these, I'm assuming that you have a max that you're shooting for. This isn't the first time that you've done this stuff. You've got a number in mind. So then I'm going to go from that bar for 10 reps, and then I'm going to go up to 25%, and I'm going to do, no more than 6 reps. Then I'm going to go to 50%, and I'm going to do no more than 5 reps. Then I'm going to go to 75%. I'm going to do no more than 3 reps. And then depending on how that's feeling, I would probably go for like a 90% for 1 rep before I try the top. But, that's one of those things where you kind of have to start to just like do some self-assessment. I do think there's a lot of value in doing that like 90% rep, max. But the key, this is the most important part, is the rest in between those sets. Once you hit 75% of your 1 rep max, you need to be resting a minimum of 3 minutes. But honestly, like 5 to 7 minutes is probably going to be even better. I mean, take the time, let your body fully recover, even if you're just sitting there bored as shit for a few minutes. Like, that's okay. You want your body to be totally recovered before you go and attempt, one of those, like, your 1 rep max. So, I mean, I think like above all of that stuff, and if you're just going to, if you're just going to just go for it, do the gradual loading and keep the rest, like that high, rest periods in between. And that's going to be your best bet, because too often we get too heavy too quick and we rest a couple minutes in between sets because we think that's all our body needs. Our heart rate's totally recovered, but you're putting a lot of stress on your body by, getting that close to failure. And so like making sure that rest time is super high is going to be the best chance that you have for success.
That's super helpful, my friend.
Hey, you got it, buddy. I mean, if you peeped the Basic Trainer Instagram page, you saw I gave my first attempt at 3:15, and I did exactly those, that exact warm up. Just couldn't quite get there. Not quite there yet, but
you're so close.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. You know what? I'm actually hoping you put that thought in my head. But I think I'm going to use this Thanksgiving holiday to beef up a little bit, and then maybe we try again at the end of next week.
Calories, man. Yeah, you're going to get it.
Yeah, we're going to get it. All right, let's bring it home with the greatest segment in podcast history. It is the I Lift a sad song of the week. Dylan, it's your song this week, and I am just dying to know what you got for us.
This is a newer song, I think.
Okay.
I had not heard of this person. Apparently, she is a very popular pop musician.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I learned about her from some colleagues the other day, and this song is such a banger. Really, all her stuff is bangers. It is Chapel Roan.
Oh my God, yeah. Chapel Roan, yeah.
Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
Good luck, babe.
It's a great song.
Yeah. I've been working out to it. I'm probably gonna try to 1 rep max my deadlift to it in a couple days here. So
I like it. I like it. That's fantastic. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.